Our first item is our Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing I'd like to do is to publicly welcome Amina. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Mr. Vice Chair, could you read our mission statement?
Marshall Public Schools develops the potential of each learner for success in a changing world.
Thank you.
We have a new mission statement after today, right?
It's the last time.
It is a changing world.
Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
And any additions? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Public forum. Is anybody in the public that'd like to approach the board? I mean, sometimes that's good when no one's here. If there's a big group of people here, we know we got a long meeting. But we'd like people to come up if they have a question. Sometimes they do. Consent agenda. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Financials. Dr. Lamprick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think our bills for the period June and July by fund category are as follows. General Fund, $2,017,023.41. The Food Service Fund, $67.50. Transportation Fund, $126.08. Community Services Fund, $58,215.33. The Capital Outlay Fund, $155,063.22. The Construction Fund, $111,968.28. And the Student Entrepreneurial Fund, $48. That makes a grand total of $2,342,511.82. And I would recommend approval of paying the bills for the period June-July, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Please vote. It is approved. Anything else on financials?
You have the Treasurer's Report available also, as we do have every month, and I think we're working on getting the year closed out of 2016, 2017, and things are looking in to be good shape at this point in time. Report more next month.
Thank you. Board forum, board members, anything to bring up?
3 weeks ago, I attended active shooter training. It was held at the middle school. It was put on by, or the training was the Marshall Police Department, Fire Department, Lyon County Sheriff's Department. There was, I think, 20 students that participated. Very surreal. Just watching it, you're kind of in awe of what could happen, and just very thankful that those agencies are here to assist us if it ever does. But just kind of going through my mind was the safety part of our referendum, and I know it's part of our goals and stuff that it's important to have, just so we don't ever have to, or at least it would help to prevent that. But yeah, it was very interesting. Jeff Hansen was there. Very interesting to watch. They take it serious. They went through several situations in all different parts of the building, and yeah, very thankful they're there for us.
Just give you an update. Negotiations with MEA are continuing. We got started a couple weeks ago, just before the 4th. We've had a couple of meetings, and we're scheduled to meet again tomorrow, but things are progressing nicely. I don't suspect it will take too much longer come to a tentative agreement with the teachers union.
Very good. Administrator's report.
In my report, and Dion referenced this in his report also, there's some information about school board goals, and as you are all well aware, you choose goals every year as a school board. Your goals this year were focused on safe and adequate facilities and various action items associated with that, and also promoting the welfare of the district and children through the political process or advocacy. I went through the, I guess I'd call it an action plan, if you will, which is on the second page of my report, and kind of took a look at the items, action items that were identified for each of the focus areas, and all of those at some level were completed during the year. I think with the advocacy one, that actually continues to sort of carry forward with some of the changes that are being proposed at the federal level, and receiving requests for advocacy from more of the state and national organizations. But I think it's just worth noting that I believe, or I feel like the school board, you folks did a nice job accomplishing your goals this year, and should be commended for that. And then we're also spending quite a bit of time on enrollment, both from the 2016-17 school year and just looking at how many students we finished the year with compared to how many we were funded for, which it seems like there shouldn't be a difference there, but there is. And then also trying to roll those figures forward and really take a look at what our enrollment might be like in the future. I know Bruce and I talked, I think it was earlier this week or last week or whenever it was, about enrollment and just the importance of that, and continuing to monitor and hone in on what we want to use for our methodology. So we'll continue to have updates in regards to that. In Brian Jones's report, a variety of information, but I was intrigued by the student survey results. As you know, Mr. Jones is into data and did a nice job of showing us some of the trends relative to student surveys, and a lot of positive things happening in terms of feedback from our high school students. So if you haven't taken a chance to look at that, I would encourage you to do so. And then in Maytech, in Michelle's report, again, a lot of information really focused on Maytech programming and summer programming in general, and the opportunities that are associated with that. And then you can also see some of the numbers from summer school at Maytech as well. Maytech is not our only summer school program, but we have a variety of them, but she's only responsible for that part of it, if you will. So things are ramping up, obviously, in July here, and we're getting busy, getting ready for August, and we're going to be ready when the kids come in and staff comes in as well.
Very good, thank you.
Bruce.
Just a couple things that I want to highlight. First of all is the adult basic ed move to SMSU from the Lyon County Government Center. That's progressing very well. We've had good cooperation from SMSU through the process, and our goal really is to have everything moved out of the Lyon County Government Center over to Social Sciences Building by August 1st. So that's moving along real well. And the other thing is in regards to the Marshall Sunrise Rotary Club and a Rotary project that we're working in collaboration with the fire department and the city of Marshall for new playground equipment purchase and installation at Liberty Park. And so that's just another good example of good collaboration and working together to improve our community.
Thank you.
Right, Karen?
Right. And we're working with, because I'm working with Tiffany Teskey to get the word out to kind of her group, her preschool age group.
Very good. Moving on to our discussion items. Did I skip some? I need to back up here. Amina, did you have a report for us?
Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. Now, is it good?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Amina Ali. I'm an only child to my mom and the oldest child to my father. I have 6 other siblings. My hobbies were used to be a lot of things, silly things, I guess. But as I grew up, they're like now this much. My hobbies are to show people that I'm a good person. I want to represent the new generation of Islam. I really want to show people that we're not all the same and not every Muslim is a bad person. Other than that, my biggest wish and goal is to bring my mother to America. She's in Kenya right now. She's pretty ill, and I am her only family that she has. And I want to get an education so I can help my people out, and all of these people who are actually in need of help. I want to be a kind person. I learned that from my teacher in 9th grade, Mrs. Noyes, thanks to her. I certainly don't really want, people to be scared of me, because right now we're at a time where when someone sees a Muslim girl, they get really scared. They're like, oh, as if they saw, an animal or something terrible. And I really want to show people that, I am just an ordinary person. Just because I am under a headscarf, that doesn't make me a bad person. No, not at all. I'm very confident, and I certainly do want to represent all the students in Marshall High School, show them that, we're good people as well, just like the rest of the students at the school. Other than that, why do I want to be on the school board? Being on the school board, I think and hope will help me to communicate with all the students and the Marshall Public School staff and the school board members. That's all. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful smile, Amina.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to our first readings of policy 101, 103, and 534. Any questions?
Just one comment in regards to policy 534, unpaid meal charges. We had reworked that in 2016 when we went through the whole process as far as, the late payments that we were receiving and the significant balance that we had, and working with Taher, got that all cleaned up. And so part of that was putting into place a policy. And now with the USDA and again, new regulations, Tricia and Lori worked together to look at the MSBA model policy along with our old policy and came up with a hybrid, and I think they did a very nice job, and so I think it'll serve us well.
We're still to the point where every kid will get a meal, though, no matter what.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Approval of our strategic plan. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Hopefully you're all familiar with how we've got to this point. There is a one-page front and back, sort of a summary document. It's called a governance document that has been created for us. But as you know, the Minnesota School Boards Association staff from their, I guess I'd say, strategic planning division, if you will, or department has assisted us with this plan, and really we've used their template in terms of an action plan. That started with input from students, from staff, from administration. The school board conducted, as you know, an activity that funneled its way into the strategic plan, and we also had a parent and community input session. All of that input and the information and opinions and perspectives that were shared were sort of massaged, if you will, by the School Boards Association and rolled forward to a strategic planning advisory committee. That committee met 3 times over, I think, 2+ months or 2 months. There were 30, Tricia, do you remember, 34, 35 members on that committee. Typically we had 30 to 33 in attendance, so I thought we did, that group did really good work and had some great discussions. Part of the work of the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee was to take all of the input and really try to take a look at needs and certainly strengths in the school district, but needs in the district relative to 6 different areas, which are actually on the back of this document, and our goal focus areas, if you will, and translate sort of our needs into goals and objectives. And I think if you've had a chance to look at this, and I'll go back to the first page in a second, but if you've had a chance to look at the goals and objectives, you'll see some things in there that are probably going to jot some memories in terms of that. That's great. We really need to focus on that and make that a priority and so on and so forth. So I think the committee did really good work on the draft and during the process. So the draft that you see here has our belief statements. They are alphabetized. Tricia, will you go up to the first page, please? Thank you. It also has our revised mission statement, and certainly there's likely some carryover from the belief statements and maybe even in the mission and vision. And then it also has a revised vision for our school district. You've seen those before, so hopefully we're at the point of where there aren't a ton of questions, but if there's some conversation or whatever that we need to talk about, great, let's do that. And then on the back side or second page, obviously, are the focus areas, the goals and objectives. Next steps from here, assuming that in a little while here you consider and approve it, we'll need to do some prioritizing of the 10 goals. I think it's important to know that we're not going to accomplish these things in 1 year, all of them. We're probably going to want to identify and do some prioritizing of what are the highest priority or most pressing areas or goals, and then focus on 2 each year for the next 5 years, since this is a 5-year strategic plan. Once that happens and the prioritizing takes place, we will develop action plans for each of the objectives and as they relate to the goals. That will be a series of input processes, if you will, and probably several revisions will need to take place with that. We need to communicate this out. We need to keep it a living document and just figure out ways that it can be something that anytime we need to make a decision or want to make a decision, we can come back to this document and say that we've got this, we need to look at it. We just need to figure out ways to make sure that we're basing decisions and things like resource allocation on our strategic plan. The items that are not necessarily prioritized, so we'll end up with essentially 1 through 10, maybe 1 and 2 will be what we'll focus on here in 2017. Well, items 3 through 10 don't go away. They stay there, and then when or if we get items 1 or 2 done in 2017-18, we're going to continue to look at those, but now we transition into picking up on the next 1 or 2 goals in 18, 19, 19, 20, so on and so forth down the road. This is, well, I will ask for you and recommend your approval of this document. It is meant to be a working draft. We may get in a situation where theoretically world's best workforce goes away, and that's an area in here, and we say we don't want that in there anymore because it doesn't exist. I don't think that's going to happen, as much as I might like it to. It's just important to, I like the world's best workforce, as much as it's important to remember that it's a working draft, and we may need to make some changes to it in the future. And then I anticipate that I'll provide you an update at least monthly on what's happening relative to our goals and just different things that are taking place in regards to the strategic plan. So it's a strategic plan for 2017, 2022. This is the governance document, if you will. I think there's been some good work done, and I'm excited about getting going on it. So.
Nice piece. Thanks for leading that, Scott.
This is my second time been on a strategic planning committee, and I really liked the way this one ran. Kudos to MSBA for sending people down. I thought it ran really smooth and very, it included the whole community. I just thought it was very nicely done. Any other comments? If not, let's vote.
Okay, back over here.
It is approved. Action item on our student handbooks for 2017-18. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And we need a second.
I'll second.
It's open for discussion.
Just a quick item to share, and it's sort of detailed in the summary. There's been some changes that we're going to need to make to the handbooks for this year. Several of them have already been made, but we're still waiting on making sure that the changes that took place in the legislative session, that we get accurate information and that gets put into the handbook. So your approval is really based on the assumption that there may need to be some minor tweaks in what's in there. The content probably won't change significantly. But for example, we're waiting on a form from the Commissioner of Education. I have yet to see that form, but yet it needs to be referenced and published in the handbooks, and we can't put that in there until we get the form. So,
The form on what, Scott?
I think it's student assessment.
Very good. Any other comments? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Action item on our 10-year long-term facility maintenance plan. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Is open for discussion.
If you recall, the 2015 legislative session brought this long-term facilities maintenance program to the forefront. It really is a significant piece of legislation, something that's going to help all the school districts in the state of Minnesota kind of leveling the playing field as far as dealing with deferred maintenance and health and safety issues and a variety of different things. And it's being fine-tuned from year to year, and one of the things that does in fact need to happen is to have a school board approval of a 10-year plan for both revenue, expenditures, and a statement of assurances. A lot of that information comes from or at least the format comes from the Minnesota Department of Education, and those are the attachments on this particular motion. And so I would ask that you would approve this 10-year plan, and a year from now get to do it again. But it's all kidding aside, it's really a good program, and Warren Buckles and his staff have worked diligently to put the items together, do the planning. As you all know, looking out over 10 years is pretty difficult work to do. Concentrate more on this coming year of 17-18 and 18-19, getting those things right, and then move it forward. So.
Very good. Any other comments? Hearing none, please vote. Is approved. Authorization for board-approved referendum authority. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's open for discussion.
Back in August of 2014, there was a conversion, a change in regards to operating referendum funding, where the state took over a great majority of the operating referendum funding for at least the Marshall School District. And then the local optional revenue, if you recall, was brought forward. And we are on the last year now of that $300 amount, taxes payable in 17, which are for the 17-18 school year, and now we need to renew that, and school boards can approve up to $300, and that's what we're recommending. We have consulted with Ehlers and Associates, and That's what they are recommending also. So that's what you're being asked to do here this afternoon, is approve that $300 board-approved operating referendum funding. And then that coincides with the $424 of local optional revenue, making $724. And I think within the next few weeks or so, the finance subcommittee or committee should probably get together and at least take a look at the future as far as talking about strategic planning, whether or not an operating referendum is something we want to look at in the future. Marshall School District is not at the top of the list as far as funding goes, but it really revolves around what the needs are. And so, again, I would encourage that we get together and at least have a discussion in regards to operating referendum and our financial status looking into the future.
Bruce, two things. One, I agree with pulling our finance committee together. Secondly, this is more of a renewal, correct? There's no new revenue or taxes or anything like that. Okay, that's what I thought.
Right.
Thank you.
And again, for taxes, starting with taxes payable in 2018.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, please vote. As approved. Anything else, board members? Anything else? Good. Meeting's over. Thank you.